So the subject of this talk is actually camera. How to work with camera on Windows Phone. And what you as the third-party developer, what you can do with the Windows Phone related to camera. And there are a few things, of course. And as I mentioned, this presentation is technical. We are going to go through, I think, almost 6 different examples and different use case scenarios of where and how you might use different APIs. And at the same time, if you are not technical person, still I think it might be quite useful because at least you're going to see what are those potentials that you can use in your camera application if you're planning to do so. All right? Okay. How did we come up with such topic? Actually, there were lots of Windows Phone related topics, and we were thinking with our Microsoft colleagues and with our Nokia colleagues what would be actually interesting. And since I do all kinds of developer training, and sooner or later somebody is always asking about the hardware capabilities of Nokia Lumias, and especially when they announced Lumia 900, everybody were interested. Okay, we're going to have a front-facing camera. How do I use that? And how I'm going to switch between different types of the cameras, and what are the performance implications if I'm using the main camera or if I'm using the front-facing camera. And then we realized that even that there is a huge amount of information at MSDN, and how many Microsoft developers in this audience? Okay, at least some. The MSDN is a gold. That's the only and the supreme source of all kinds of information that you can find on any aspect of Windows Phone development. And even if you will Google for all kinds of code samples, most of them are originated either on Microsoft MSDN or they were cloned, because I think they did a pretty good job not only like displaying APIs, but also exposing all those APIs in the form of examples. So we were discussing and we realized that, hey, why don't we put 1 hour overview of all Windows Phone camera related APIs with few examples. Even that I'm not the biggest specialist in the image processing and imaging, regardless of my neural networks and image processing background gazillions of years ago. Still, we decided that it would be nice to put together an overview of all APIs, and here it is. So, let's go. That's what you're going to see today. We are going to go through all APIs that you might use, and then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5, 6 different examples that we're going to do either together or if the time will permit. If not, we have them precompiled and deployed. We're going to take a look at the very simple scenario, of course, the basics, how to take the image. And then we're going to take a look at the more complex example, how to create the custom camera and how to programmatically control resolution and flash and hardware shutter button, etc., etc. Then how to get access to the raw pixels that are coming from the viewfinder and how to alter them on the fly and do something useful with them. Then we take a look at the very interesting scenarios of third-party libraries that are available for you that you can use to create augmented reality application, barcode scanners, and all kinds of really nice stuff. On top of that, my Nokia friends and colleagues, they gave me this huge device that's called Lumia 900. The trick here, it's a prototype with the specially modified firmware that I can use actually this as the... So whatever I do in here, you're going to see on the screen, except one minor detail. I cannot deploy anything in this mode on this device. So I have a set of demos precompiled in here, and I have a set of demos for the Lumia 800 that we're going to see from the camera projector. Okay. Right, let's go back. And if like 1 year ago, the only way you can work with images on Windows Phone was just to launch the camera capture task. So basically like a system dialog, hey, give me the camera, take the picture and go back. That's it. You got the picture and then you do something with this picture. There was no way to do the on-the-fly processing of the images or create your very own custom viewfinder. And with the Mango, so essentially publicly since September or October, once we've got the devices available, what you could do, you can use Windows Phone camera APIs. That's a new thing. And on top of that, you can use Silverlight 4 webcam API. So if you are already Silverlight developer, then for you using the webcam APIs, basically you can almost take exactly the same code you were using in Silverlight 4 with the webcam and put it into the Windows Phone. And the funny part that basically phone camera API, it's one huge class with lots of methods, and basically I really have difficulties to invent some scenarios where you have to use something extra, except performance, of course. Okay. But now, especially since, was it last week or since Mobile World Congress, when we do have Windows Phone devices with a low memory, 256 megabyte, low price devices, as you might imagine, imaging is, even if you take like what is the at Nokia 610, we have 5 megapixel camera. If you blow it to the memory bitmap, it's huge. If you're going to process it on the fly, it's going to be even bigger. So if you are considering making the on-the-fly image processing for the 256 megabyte devices, you have to think carefully and do lots of optimization. And then maybe you don't actually need to use the custom viewfinder. That's why even that the camera capture task is the most limited, you just take a snapshot and go back to your application. Still, it's a very useful thing. And now let's actually see how you would create very, very simple application with that. What I'm going to use, so if you can see my Visual Studio in here, because of all these video special device drivers, even that it has huge amount of memory, it's going to be a little bit slow. So what we are going to create the special folder called D on my desktop, and inside we're going to create all our applications. So this application is going to be called D1. Okay, yes. And I hope that you can see. As you can see, it's creating the application a little bit slow. Almost there. Close, 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 close. All right. So here is my application. What I would like to do, I just would like to put a button and put an image control. And whenever I snap this button, I will get the image from the camera. And that's what we are going to do first. So we're gonna need button. Let's put it here. It's gonna get faster eventually. Okay. And then what I would like to do, I would like to put the image. Here is my image. And that's basically it. And when I snap this picture, let's say capture, then I would like to get something to the image. Let's create event. Okay, here we're gonna do our event. First of all, you have to add the using clause, and it's gonna be tasks. So we're gonna have Microsoft. I'm typing the US layout on a Finnish keyboard, so forgive me. It's gonna be phone, and we're gonna talk with the tasks, right? And we're gonna create capture task, and it's gonna be capture camera capture task. Let's call it, what was the name? Camera task. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to create in the constructor camera task new camera capture task. No arguments, very simple, almost primitive, and we would like to get some kind of notification when we get the actual snapshot, because the focusing involved, etc., and the transfer of the byte arrays. So we're gonna register it like this, double tap, and we have our event. So in here I'm going to check that if my event was actually it's called task result okay, then we're gonna do magic, and it's gonna be bitmap. So first of all, bitmap image. So now it's gonna complain, and we're gonna resolve with the Windows imaging. So it's in here, the system Windows media imaging, and it's gonna be a temporal bitmap, so we don't have to invent any special name. Bitmap image, right? Then bitmap set source, and what you can get from our event, what you can have is the actual chosen photo. It's almost like a dialog, right? And the only thing that is left to our image, to the source, we just have to assign this bitmap. As simple as that. I have one mistake in here. Who knows? Nobody noticed that. When we click, we didn't do actually any capture. So camera task show. That's the magic. That's our very first, very simple application. Now, take a look at this. In here, I have the latest SDK with the two emulators for 256 and 512 and the real device. Let's see how it's going to look on emulator. Because, of course, it would be perfect if we would get the real, like I have a web camera here, if we would get in the emulator the feed from the real web camera, but in your dreams. What we are going to see in here, when I press capture, we're going to have basically black and a little bit buggy background. When I click, then it pretends that it's focusing and then takes some kind of random picture of from the black square flying on top of the white background. Accept, and now it snapped something, and our application is working. Let's try it on the device. And here is the trick. Lots of people broke their heads against the wall because what I am about to do, I have my Lumia, its developer unlocked. If you are already developing for Windows Phone, you have to know that Zune software is supposed to be running in the background. And I just hit deploy. I have some software, the deployment errors, and now this is another thing. Take a look at this, because the device, okay. So the trick here is actually to close this and start one magic. And we are trying to redeploy. OK. We deployed. So what was the problem? The problem was not that I did some kind of a mistake. The problem was that if you have a zoom running, then if you take a capture, the camera will not work on device. So it's very useful to know that. So as you can see, there is my camera. I will take a picture, accept, and it's there. That Windows SDK comes with the very, very useful thing. If we go to Program Files, sorry, x86 in here. Oops, sorry. Program Files, Microsoft SDK, Windows Phone, 7.1, Tools, WP Connect. And I have 64-bit version. So this is small executable. Is very useful when you're going to work with camera, because when Zoom is running, the camera access is blocked. So, but instead of that, you have this running in the background, and you can debug all your camera applications. So let me actually show on the exactly the same on our Lumia 900. So we have here my demo with the capture task, with a bit better quality. So it's a system dialog. We get this, so you can see you in the audience doing the snap. Nice music. And we have our camera. Okay, however, that's too simple. What we would like to do, of course, we would like to create very, very custom application with the custom viewfinder, and let's call it D2. And while it creates the project, I will switch back to the PowerPoint and continue talking in here. So what you can do with the new APIs, you can create completely custom camera application. And the cool part that you can query devices for all capabilities. That means we have access to different types of flash. In most cases, it's on-off auto, and some devices are coming with the red eye reduction. Then autofocus. The different devices, they work differently, so you can actually ask if the point focus supported, and you can use hardware shorten button, and you can query what are the resolutions are available for the front-facing camera and for the primary camera, and you can put them and use them and select them. On top of that, you can query the actual viewfinder, because this is an 8-megapixel camera. Of course, it's not going to pump 8-megapixel pictures into the preview. So you can actually query what is your current preview size. And if you do a lot of on-the-fly processing, you, of course, have a tendency to choose the smaller to get the higher frame rate and the higher processing speed. OK, so that's what we are going to do. Important that your manifest file must have this first line, ISV camera. And if it doesn't have this line, it's by default there. But if it doesn't have this line, if you delete it by accident, then your camera is not going to work. And the second line, if your application requires front-facing camera, then it's just a manifest. So what happens when users are downloading it from the marketplace? What happens, the marketplace checks if your device do have or does have a front-facing camera, and then it will notify a user, hey, you require, this application requires front-facing camera, your device doesn't have it. It doesn't mean that you cannot install the application. You can install application, but you're going to get this warning right from the marketplace. And for example, if you're doing some kind of a mirror application, of course, the only reason for this application to exist is front-facing camera. So it's a good idea to put it in there. However, if it's not there, it's OK, and you can query the device capability on the fly. So here is our magic class. It's called photo camera, and as you can see, I outlined the most important methods and properties and events in here. So you can query, as I said, available resolutions, camera type, meaning front and primary, flash mode, because, for example, Lumias, they do not support red eye reduction. Some devices do support. Then, is focus at point supported, if you can point focus. Some devices do not come with any kind of focus. Changes of the orientation, preview resolution, oops, sorry. And YCBCR layout. I will talk later about that. Then very simple methods to cancel focus and capture image and initiate focus. That's the goal. These three methods, they will get you full snapshot of the pixels in different formats. ARGB, only luminance, and the luminance and chroma formats. And this is very important that we do have option to use these three because of the performance. I tell you later about that. Generally, if flash is supported, and then you have set of very nice events, including when the focus is complete, was the capture complete, when image available. This API, you don't have to scale your images to get the thumbnails. It gives you also thumbnails, etc., etc., etc. So lots of functionality, and that's what we're going to use. Another important addition to the current API, that there is a new type of the background called video brush that comes straight from the Silverlight. Now it's available for Windows Phone, and as the source, you can put basically any kind of media, including camera. That's exactly how we do viewfinders. And then again, there are three nice methods of this static class called camera buttons, and it gives you access to the hardware shutter button, including the half press. So basically, even if you are not going to use the camera, you can, in any kind of third-party applications, use the hardware shutter button just for all kinds of extra functionality. I don't know, the audio recording or something like this. It's really cool. And let's take a look at the application. And let's hope our Visual Studio started. Yes. So what I would like to do here, show you in few very simple steps how I have everything in here, how to create totally custom camera with the viewfinder. First of all, the most useful component in this is canvas. And people who are coming from the different platforms, they are mistakenly thinking that canvas is some kind of the drawing canvas. It's not. It's one of the three layout managers in Silverlight, and that's equivalent of the absolute layout. And what I'm going to do in here, so I have to create for this canvas, that's going to be my viewfinder. And what I would like to do, I would like to create here video brush. So I'm going to close this. And in here, I will create canvas. And I need a background property. Oops. Background. Okay. And in here, now we create video brush. We don't need any properties of this. We just have to create some kind of name so that we can access it. Okay, let's call it, what was my favorite name? Preview canvas. Beautiful name. Accept closing tag, that jumped over. So we're going to close it. That's it. So from this moment on, we can draw our live camera feed on this canvas. Okay. What else? I'm going to switch to the code. And in here, it's almost like a one-liner also. A class called photo camera. And please give me a mistake. Resolve. So the namespace is Microsoft Devices. Okay. It's going to be called cam. And We cannot initialize it in the constructor because that's exactly where the components are building, but what we can do, we can use protected override void on navigated to. In here, when the page actually becomes active, in here we can kick the camera and we can try to get the camera stream. So it's going to be new photo camera, and you wouldn't believe, but that's almost all. So preview canvas, set source camera. Okay. What else? That's actually it. The only interesting part in here that this constructor, photo camera, it takes parameters. And as one of the parameters can be camera type. So here explicitly you can push use front-facing camera or default primary camera. On top of that, you can actually query. For example, I will cam and now is focus supported, flash mode supported, and then, for example, get type. You can query what kind of type of the camera. Lots of stuff. Everything is available in MSDN. So that's not the magic in here. Let's actually try to put it. Let's build it. Wow, it says that build complete. Deployment errors, of course. That's something, if you're a developer, that's something that you're going to encounter a lot, because you're going to have a lot of other apps installed in here. So you have to actually kill some of the other development applications in order to install others. So I killed mine. Deploying. Let's switch here. So that's, as you can see, viewfinder that works. Unfortunately, we don't see it as the very nice, except it's rotated. So what we have to do here, we can apply some kind of rotation to our brush. So what I am going to put here, preview canvas, and the magic word is relative transform, and we are going to use new composite transform, and in there are going to be a lot of important stuff. So we're going to have that center of our transform 0.5, then center of other gonna be another 0.5, and now the magic here to put the correct rotation. So rotation is 90 degrees. Let's check. I think we're done with this one. Annoying, you have to unlock device, press F5 again. It's running. Switch here, and now, as you can see, the rotation is correct. So what I would like to do, switch back. I would like to introduce super UI controls for the flash and for the focus. Switching back to my editor, let's have a split view. So what I would like to put in here, timing is good, some extra buttons. So this is gonna be for enabling some kind of a flash. Then the second gonna be for disabling flash, surprise. The third that we are going to have is going to be for the enabling the autofocus. And last but not least, even that there is a UI guideline that you're supposed to use hardware shutter buttons as much as possible. Nobody actually, okay, we put it wrong component. So let's delete this one because we don't need it. Button, that's going to be button for capture. So software capture button. Let's start doing all kinds of renaming. So that's going to be flash on. That's going to be flash off. That's going to be out of focus. Out of focus. That's going to be capture. Capture. Okay. So, what you have to do, of course, every time you're supposed to query, hey, is flash supported and what kind of flash? But I know precisely what's available on this specific Lumia. So in here, we're going to just push automatically flash mode. Where's my papers? Flash mode. And we're going to have flash mode. And as you can see, these are the sum that we're supposed to query. So I'm going to push on. And then we're going to copy this, go back, double click, create another event. Lots of tedious work, very exciting. Flash off, another one, out of focus. So camera. Now we are calling method that is called focus. Let's try. So we have to unlock our device. We have to deploy. Deployed, switching to our camera view. So here is the thing, and flash on, and whenever I'm starting to do focusing, it doesn't mean that you can create the LED flash application. Now we have a focusing. It's too bright in here, so I guess I have to. Yeah, now as you can see, flash is on during the focusing. And now if I press, nothing happens. So let's put it again on. I guess I have to make it darker. So that's my focusing. I have no idea if you saw or anything. I'm going to show it on another device. Important point here that I will create the capture. And maybe I was doing some magic in here. You don't know. So what you have to do, you have to push capture from the camera. And that would be capture image, that method. And what you have to do also, you have to create all kinds of events. And I'm not going to torture you and typing all these events. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open ready-made custom camera application. And in the meanwhile, when I'm going to walk you through the code, I will actually show you how complete application looks like. So that's my Lumia 900. And let's create custom camera. Wait, and as you can see, hey, that's me. Because it is using the front-facing camera. In the code, I enforced camera type as the front-facing. And I can focus on myself and I take a snapshot. And what happened now, this snapshot is actually went to, let's take pictures. I pushed this snapshot, this latest one, to the photo hub on my device. So you have several options what you can do, and I'm going to present them. So here is the ready-made code. Take a look at this. I created two events: when image is actually available after the capture and capture complete. What we are creating in here, let me scroll a little bit here. When image is available, I'm basically just using the dummy counter to create JPEG name, and then I'm using this library method to put picture to the Pictures Hub library. And in order to do so, we have to reference our XNA media and create, of course, instance of the media library. Alternatively, you can get this as the bytes, of course, the whole JPEG, and you can put it to the isolated storage. And you can manipulate on those pictures and do all kinds of various things in here. And another interesting stuff, camera buttons, that's the access for the camera hardware shorten button, and we just register event handler, nothing special, and in this we just create the another some guys in here. We just create the equivalent of our software capture button. That's very simple example of what we do with the custom camera controls. As you can see, there are really a lot of things that you can customize. And however, the most important stuff is that if you target, you cannot, when you submit something to the marketplace, you cannot target very specific device. So when you are debugging and working on specific device, you know this doesn't have front-facing camera, or that doesn't have this and that flash mode, so we are not going to use them. But the moment your application in the marketplace, there are gazillions of different devices, different resolutions, etc., etc. So you really have to query every single time. And Microsoft has excellent example on this. That is, of course, in MSDN, and I strongly recommend to actually take a look at this example. While it's loading, I will switch back to my Lumia. I have this example in here. So what we see, that's me again, and all the same equivalents of our flash. So this is my finger that is moving, and I can browse through the available preview or camera resolutions for the front-facing camera, as you can see, and I can do all kinds of autofocusing. However, as you can see, front-facing camera doesn't support programmable autofocus. And this example works on all Windows Phone devices very smartly, because exactly that's what they're doing. They're querying every single time. Where is my mouse? Now we have to get rid of this software by pressing escape. So I'm going to switch to the code eventually. So take a look. This is my SDK basic example. These are the queries that you have to perform. Is this camera supported or not? Is this type supported or not? And then you have to register all kinds of things in terms of the different focus types and the flash types, and a lot of different kind of things. Doing very long if-then-else constructions, etc., etc., etc. Of course, something that obviously we are not going to show in here. But examples are there, and you can query device capabilities. Now the interesting part, on-the-fly image processing. And that's what you do with these three methods. As I mentioned, you can snap the bitmap array or array of integers or array of bytes directly from the camera preview. And these are just bytes and integers. It means that you can get them to your array, and you can do whatever you want, any kind of math you can imagine on the bytes or integers. That's exactly how you create image filters. However, there is one problem. We traditionally using the ARGB, where we have very clean representation. However, most of the cameras, they are working at the luminance and chroma, and that's the native format, and the colors encoded differently. And very good that Windows Phone is actually gives you possibility to choose if you get data in ARGB, and then if your application is very simple, there is no complex math involved, you can do all kinds of RGB operations. However, it's going to be a little bit slow. Well, not a little bit, but when you're working with the luminance and chroma, it's going to be up to 4 times faster when you're processing images on the fly. And why is that? Because it takes snapshots of the byte array anyway in the luminance and chroma, and then it does internal conversion into the RGB, and then it gives it to you. It takes time. That's why sometimes on certain image processing algorithms, you don't even need the chroma, you need only luminance. So that's why Microsoft actually provides even another method, get preview buffer Y. It means it returns only luminance. And on top of that, a lot of augmented reality applications on Windows Phone, they're using this because that's the fastest way of getting the pixels for some kind of a processing and analyzing. If you're working with the YCBCR, it means that you have to get the layout mapping, because depends on the camera, there's different padding of the bytes involved, as you can see here. I just shamelessly copy these pictures from the MSDN, of course. And this is something that you have to query with the method YCBCR pixel layout, and in order to use that, you have to process it, and then you can get access to the specific areas of your byte array. Another difference that RGB, it returns as the array of integers, and YCBCR returns as the array of bytes. So that's another factor for actually doing things faster, because on the byte level you can do things even faster because there is no integer overhead. So that's what we are going to use, and I have very, very simple and straightforward example in here, and we do it again like this. I will start my example. It's going to be demo 3 image processing. And while it's starting, I switch back to my Super Lumia and demo 3 image processing. What it does, at the top, what you can see, I didn't even apply any conversion, rotation. What you can see here, the actual preview buffer in color, and at the bottom, it's just the image. And I'm pushing to this image the processed integers that I got from the preview buffer. And the brute force approach, you cannot do it, of course, in the same thread. The brute force approach is to use either the separate thread for the processing the integers or array, or use some kind of dispatch timer. And the dispatch timer is the brute force approach. So as you can see in this application, we have again only camera, dispatch timer, and writable bitmap. And nothing special, again, just creating the camera and assigning it as the source of the video brush in here, and registering event when camera is completely initialized, and inside That's the trick. We have to invoke with the dispatcher creation of the bitmap and query the camera for the resolution. That's going to be our bitmap. And making the dispatch timer with the 15 milliseconds, and then just registering the event. What happens in this event, creating the integer array based on the camera resolution, and then I'm getting here RGB because it's faster for the example to explain how it works. And this is brute force approach, going pixel by pixel and selecting the method and converting the specific data to grayscale. And in internet you can find gazillions of examples how to convert integers to color and how to convert color to the grayscale. So there is no magic here. But it gives you example, very simple example, how to do on-the-fly image processing. And there is an excellent example in here that comes with the tutorials, Microsoft tutorials. That's called PhotoFun. This application is available absolutely full source code. So this is actually pretty fun. So I'm going to show it on you. So that's what we have. When we draw on top of our video brush with all kinds of custom graphics, that's pretty fast. So no delay whatsoever. However, I will switch it off. When, for example, I'll start processing something on the fly, that's what we see when, as you can see, it's becoming slower and there is a jerkness. However, it will be 4 times faster if you will work with the YCBCR. This is working with the RGB arrays, just for the sake of examples. And there are all kinds of image filters that are in here. And in MSDN you have access to the full examples and you can combine all those. So I think this is very, very nice example. And what you can do with that, of course, you can build all kinds of image processing. All right. Our next topic would be App Connect. So on average, user might install huge amount of apps, and it's a good idea to group applications that are specific to some operation, like working with images or working with some kind of audio video, and that's exactly what is App Connect. Third-party developers can register their application in a specific way, and this application will appear as part of default system Picture Hub or Music and Video Hub. So your application, if you're working with camera and images, the natural choice would be to assign it to the Pictures Hub. How you do that? If you have this, again, shamelessly copied from the MSDN, this is a Pictures Hub, and your application, third-party application, can be in here, in the app section. Or if you are viewing the picture, you can take this picture as the argument and send to your app if you register it properly. Or if you are creating your next generation super Facebook with some kind of image sharing, then you can register your application as the one of the source or one of the destination for the media sharing from the picker. All you have to do is to include into your manifest one of these 3 or all 3 very long lines. So this is a magic code that we have no idea how and why it was generated. We just have to use this. And the moment this appears in your application manifest, after that your application can be presented in the Pictures of Images Hub on the device. This is really useful. However, it is a subject of additional processing in the marketplace, because if you will create some kind of a music application or just random application that has nothing to do with the pictures, and you said that this application is for the photo extra viewer, then Microsoft will not accept it. So your application has to really work this way in order to provide this specific extensibility for the Picture Hub. Okay, and then there's a quite interesting snapshot. When you get the navigation events and you've been launched from the Pictures Hub, you can query the string what was the argument, because if it contains the secret token, it means that it has some kind of argument, and then you can parse what was the actual picture, and then you can get it into your application and do whatever bitmap processing, or you can, I don't know, some photo processing application, doing some fun, etc., etc. And I have a short demo in here again. It doesn't make any sense to try it on emulator, because emulator doesn't have a Pictures Hub. However, I have application in here that is called Demo 4 App Connect, and if I start it, nothing happens. Just in here, white space, and this white space is actually image bitmap. However, if I go to the Pictures Hub in here is what I can do. I can take a look at applications, and here is my application. If I launched it, I am launching my application directly from the Pictures Hub. It doesn't show any pictures, of course, because it's just part of the Pictures Hub, right? So it can be some kind of a photo camera application. Then, if I selected for example, this picture, and now I have a share, select share, and as you can see, our application is in here, and of course, we didn't process it as the part of the share, but what I did is actually we processed it as the applications in here, and now I've got this image from the Photo Hub directly to my application. I can change it, I can do something funny, and then I can push it back. The code is primitive and simple. Let's open it up. You can tap together with me. Yep. That's unfortunately downside of having this specially hacked video driver that takes this from a special firmware video output. So let me open my application manifest, and as you can see, these are all the manifest properties and capabilities. I just copy-pasted here and registered them as the one snap. And the second part is that in the main CS file I have again the same code that takes my picture and pushing it to the image that I placed in here, the image component. Very nice and simple. Okay. Then we have a little bit of time, and let's talk a little bit about some fun part. With the camera, when the camera and bitmaps and the raw pixel arrays are becoming available, the first thing people are thinking about, the most exciting part, the augmented reality applications that are probably the most useless one also, but nevertheless it's a fun part to play with them. And the current advice is do not use the sensor APIs because they might be different, but to use so-called motion APIs, because motion and APIs, they encapsulate all types of sensors regardless of the device. And for example, even if the device doesn't have a gyro, then it would be somehow like simulated. And another thing, there are very nice already open source third-party libraries available for creating your custom QR barcode readers or for the augmented reality. And I have a collection in here. First of all, the Motion API, what you can get from the Motion API, for example, you can read the attitude and rotation matrix. You can combine it with the XNA matrix operations, and what you can create just by snapping the picture and realizing where my device right now, how it's rotated, you can make a point in the 3D space and store it in the XNA matrix. It means that when you start rotating, what happens is the picture is actually moving, and of course we have very nice demo for that. This example, unfortunately, not available at MSDN for downloading. It's just step-by-step instructions, but they are, even I was able to reproduce it, so it should be really simple. Here it is. So, it's using the front-facing camera. And what I'm going to do, it doesn't recognize, of course, the motions like this, because there is no 3D space positioning, but it will recognize motions like that. So I will click on my face, and I will, that would be me. And then if I rotate like that, that will be some kind of a wall. Oops. Wall. So, and this is me, and this is wall, and let's good guy. So we have a good guy, we have, where's me? It's gone away already. And we have a wall somewhere there. So, but you got the point. So basically, you can assign, yeah, the good guy is somewhere there. Yeah. So, and the code is microscopic. Basically, you are taking the reading from the Motion API, you transform it into the XNA matrix, and that's it. And you just have array of the. These are just text labels that are flying on top of the graphics. Then another example that I would like to show you. Of course, super famous Jeff Wilcox, and the guy who is basically blessed us with the Silverlight toolkits and Silverlight and many other things. What he did, there is a very nice open source ZSync library that was, it handles all kind of barcodes and QR codes, and it's been ported to Silverlight. And what he did, he wrapped it as the just drag and drop custom control for Windows Phone. So what you can do, you can just drag it on your Windows Phone, and then via one event that it recognized something. So what I did, I actually printed a couple of QR codes in here. Let's try to play with them. So the application is this one. Just one component, text block, and if I point it to the very badly printed QR and it says HTTP TechDays, now I will reset it and Windows Phone QR, then again let's reset it for do some other reading, hopefully eventually. No, doesn't want to take it anymore. The Windows Phone QR was too strong. It was the TechDays, and we have Windows Phone. TechDays, Windows Phone. I have my registration from Barcelona Mobile World Congress. Let's read this one. That's some kind of registration code, this one, as you can see. So it works pretty well, and literally one line of the code. So I have the solution here that will be open, and I will show you how it works briefly. And then the second part, there is another that we showed. The other guy, quite famous, I think, at least in this community, René Schulp. And what he did, he created basically, there are two augmented reality the frameworks, open source frameworks, New AR Toolkit and AR Toolkit. And he wrapped them into the SLR Toolkit for Silverlight. And he did, of course, the Windows Phone version of this. And again, open source project available at the Codeplex, and really very simple and basically just fantastic. Let's take a look at this. Where's my demo? This one. So what it's looking for the specific augmented reality marker. And of course I printed this marker in here. So eventually it detected the market. Hopefully, let me put it into some more flat surface so that we have. Okay. Everything is slow today. Let's reset this thingy. Sorry guys, doesn't want to detect. Too bad. I have a bigger version. Let's try on this one. Yes, bigger is better. So basically it detects the motion, and it tries to replace this whenever it actually detects the marker. And yeah. Not every time, but sometimes. Okay, now finally it decided that it got a good capture. I can switch to the image and basically replace it with the image. Okay. All this is open source and available for Windows Phone. And as I mentioned, the only thing that I would like to briefly demonstrate you, this QR, one line of the code. Scan complete when I am getting the result from the text block into the text block. And exactly the same with the available this SLR toolkit, that it's just few lines of the code that you can import into your application, and then you will get this view. Okay, so thank you very much. That was overview of what you can do today with the Windows Phone imaging and APIs and graphics. And if you have any questions, please ask now. Otherwise, I can stay a little while and then we can discuss. Yes, please. Yes, of course. The only problem is, of course, to find the Silverlight. Yeah, the question was, are there any face recognition libraries? Yes, there are. The only problem to find the Silverlight port of this, or if it's available as the C algorithm, you can actually make it, convert it yourself. Any other questions? Yes. The question was if user So is it possible that you can create application that actually takes the pictures, but user have no idea that it's taking pictures? Technically, yes, you can do that. The question, will it pass the certification? No, it will not pass certification. So, and exactly the same the questions are with the LED lights. So there is a technical possibility to turn on the light and use it as the flashlight, because the video recording sometimes require flashlight. However, this part of the API is located at the extensions that are not public. So if you reference them, then it will not pass the marketplace certification. But then you're asking why there are so many LED flashlight applications, because people are smart, they're using reflection. So they are not referencing it, but they are doing it during the runtime. So that's the question, if when Microsoft will start kicking those applications out. So, any other questions? Yes, please. So the question was, in the camera capture task, it was tilted. What I took a picture and I squeezed it into my own image without asking of the proper resolutions or sizes or anything. Of course, you have to properly ask what is my current resolution of the viewfinder and what is the view area and what is the resolution of the picture that is coming. Any other questions?
I think we need to stop the question. I think we need to stop the questions at least to tell everyone that the break has been started. So if it's okay to leave now, if you want to grab some coffee, it's also we have like 10 minutes still, so we can continue the questioning over here and have those questions recorded if you like. At the same time, also as for this really interesting talk, thank you, Michael. Nokia is providing time to time these phones, and I have a new Windows phone, Nokia Lumia 800 white one over here, and it goes for the person who asked the first question over here, so it goes for the company. So I just collect the information, so there are more surprises to come.